174, and then here, yes, you have the server, the host name, the IP address, and then the check, because as you know that the benefit of the load balancer is to distribute the traffic across the instance that reside before them or that reside front of it, but every time it must check the health of the instance before to distribute the traffic. Otherwise, the users will have a bad user experience. So let me come here and explain you that. Let me come back here to this here. So this worker node will like to join this master's node. So for that, it will send a request to this load balancer that behave as our, we call it our control plane endpoint. If you don't specify this control plane endpoint, then you will not have the certificate key, and you will be not able to join a new master node because you will have an error that you must to have a control plane endpoint that in our case behave as a load balancer. So every time this load balancer will send the traffic to our instance, and depends on the parameters that we have given to this load balancer to make a decision whether if our instance is still alive or it's healthy or unhealthy. So if we come back here to these parameters that we have provided to our load balancer, so check files, false, tree, and raise 2 means that if the load balancer sends the first health check to this master node and it does not respond, the second, and it sends the second and did not respond, and the third and it does not respond, then the load balancer will mark this instance unhealthy and it will distribute the traffic to this instance instead of this one. But before it distributes the traffic to this instance, it must to check its health, and it will repeat the same procedure on this instance. I have to specify another thing is the IP address. So if config, sorry, I will copy IP address, our first master node, and the one as well. I will clear I will copy that and come down here and scroll down and paste that file. Sorry, that line. I will save the changes and then try to restart the service to apply the change. How the service will read our new lines. If you don't do that, then this each proxy will not know about the new modification. So service HA proxy, then restart. So now it's time to initiate our master node. So here we have to enter our load balancer IP address 10.10.1.174, advertise an address. This is the IP address, and it will be 10.10.6, 10.10.6.228. And then for the pod network I will not change. And there is another option here that is upload certs. This option is very important and you have to understand it. So I will give you what are the results if we don't use this option, and what are the results if we use it. So if we use this upload cert, and then when we try to join the second master node to our cluster, then the certificate that reside in this master node will be automatically copied and pasted in the other master node. But if we don't use this option, then you have to do that manually, is to copy that certificate that reside in the etc Kubernetes ls. That once we'll initiate our cluster, here will be a folder called PKE, private key internet. I don't remember its abbreviation, but here will be a folder called the PKE where our certificates of each component in the master node will have its own certificate, right? Because this certificate will enable us to interact with, or to enable each component to interact with the other component in a secure way. I will explain this once I will reach in the role-based access control, where I will create second user and I want him to interact with my cluster instead of administrator. Then I will explain you the asymmetric key and the SSL and how it works. So don't worry, I will explain everything, I will cover everything. So now you have to copy this so all is I want to make sure that I didn't do any mistake here, otherwise this command will not work. So I will enter. Now as you can see, it's telling me I hit enter. So I left the space between this, then this command believe or thought that this is another command or an option or sub command. That's why it's better to do not leave space between the equal and the property. So if everything we have put it correctly, then this command will work. That's nice. So now we have